Good morning, students. Today, let us continue with the module 4, and it is the last chapter in the module 4 and about web security. Okay, so let us see the basic concepts of the web. Okay, so as we know, the availability of the web and interactive nature of the web applications have played a role in providing unprecedented convenience to the customer. Compared to the JSP or Java servlets or the ASP, the next generation of the component-based web technologies such as J2EE, .NET provides the scalability and reusability together with support for transaction processing and security, etc. That means there is with the usage of the J2EE and .NET, okay, there is some more advantages. And as we know, the SSL provides the security over the communication link. If we compare the earlier web applications, okay, with the supply chain management applications, okay, so we will find a lot of difference. Many of the earlier web applications, as an example, internet banking, involves human to program interaction. However, the applications such as supply chain management differs from traditional web applications in several significant respects. So, for example, the programs communicate with each other over the web with little or no human intervention. Services might have a composite nature, such as composite services, which necessitate the involvement of multiple providers, each providing an atomic service. So there are potentially a large number of atomic service providers offering a given service. So the clients have a choice and can dynamically change the providers. The clients and providers may be running applications using different web technologies on diverse computing platforms with different operating systems. Interoperability is thus an important issue. So, now let us see the various examples for the atomic service providers with an example for web-based travel planning. So, in the web-based travel planning, which is an application that processes many of the above features what we have discussed. Here, a user can visit website to choose his or her travel agent to book airline ticket. So, the customer could also reserve hotel, car for rentals using the same login session. Right. So, in this scenario, there are atomic service providers like travel agent, the airline, hotel chain and the car rental company, etc. Here, the travel agent would have partnership with airlines, hotels, car rentals, which are listed on web page for the user selection option. Therefore, the computing platform and the software that power their applications might be very different from one another. Okay, so now let us see the definition of the web service. The web service, it is the World Wide Web Consortium, that is WCUB, which defines a web service as a software system identified by a URI whose public interfaces and bindings are defined and described by XML. This system may then interact with the web service in a manner prescribed by its definition using XML-based messages conveyed by Internet protocols. Okay, the various entities involved, okay, in the web service, that is basically the atomic web service involves three entities. They are requester, that is the client, the provider, who is known as a server, and a registry. So as we are seeing here in the figure 25.1, the entities involved in a web services, okay, here we have initially the registry or the service broker, that is basically the service provider registers or publish, as we are seeing here the point 1, okay, arrow mark from service provider to the service broker. Here the service registry or the publish, they are going to publish their services in a public registry. Therefore, the requester discover services by querying the registry, as we are seeing here in the second arrow mark labeled with discover, where the requesters discover services by querying the registry for services that match certain criteria. Once a requester has identified a provider whose services it needs, it binds to and invokes the service of that provider, as we are seeing here in the arrow mark 3 from service requester to the service provider, okay, where the requester is binding with the service provider which he is invoking, okay, the service of that particular provider. Here, the technologies to support web services are all based on XML, which is known as Extended Markup Language. So, which has become lingua franca for electronic document. Okay. So, now we are going to discuss the various technologies for web services. So, one of the technology is XML. Okay. XML, it is a markup language which is known as the extended markup language, uses the tags as a mechanism to identify the structures in a document or to specify presentation style or the format. So now let us see an example. We have a chapter in a textbook. Each chapter one or more sections. Okay, each section in turn is made up of 0 or more subsections, and each subsection is made up of 1 or more paragraphs. So these facts may be represented using the markup language as represented here within the angle brackets. Chapter followed by the section, section followed by the subsection, subsection followed by the paragraph. And for each tag, there is the end tag also, which is represented using a forward slash followed by that particular name, element tag name. Okay. So XML tags are used to describe the structure of the data basically. And XML is a meta language which provides a facility to define the tag sets in diverse fields such as business, medicine, mathematics, and law. So now let us see the various tags of the XML document. Okay, we have the tag, okay, known as the element, which is the most basic markup found in an XML document. The start of an element tag within a document is indicated by the start tag, which contains name of the element within the angular bracket. So for example, here we have the purchase order, okay, which is conforming to a schema definition, okay, which we are going to see in the figure B, that is here. Okay, we have the code here with respect to the purchase order in XML. XML schema definition of a purchase order we have here in the figure B. In the figure A, we have the purchase order conforming to the schema definition of the B. Okay, using the definition which is provided in the B, here we are going to define the XML code for the purchase order, which conform to the schema definition of the figure B. So here we are seeing the the XML version, telling which XML version to use, then the purchase order, okay, then few other names like ship to, then items, item part, okay, then two items, because we can have, while purchasing we can purchase more than one item, so we'll be having the definition of all the items here and end the purchase order. Now in this purchase order definition, where we will find the element. So here in the line number 3, I have the element known as ship to. Okay, ship to here in the present in the given line 3 of the document indicates the start of the element ship to, and this element is ending at the line 9. The end tag with respect to the element ship to is given at the line number 9. So which indicates the end of the element ship to. That is, an end tag can be recognized by the forward slash to the immediate right of the opening angular bracket. Again we are seeing here in the line number 3, the start of the element ship to is given here within the angle bracket, and similarly in the line number 9, the end of the element ship to is given, okay, with the forward slash after the opening angular bracket. Now let us see what are the contents of this particular element ship to. Okay, so an element may contain the data, or it may contain the other sub elements, or it may contain both data and other sub elements. Okay, so now here in this code, which are all the sub elements and what are the data. Okay, so here the element ship to contains the sub elements name, street, city, state, and pin. Okay, because if I want to ship some items, I need the address of a purchaser, right? So the details about the purchaser are represented in the sub elements of the element ship to. And when we see the values of the various sub elements, okay, again various sub elements, we have the start tag and end tag. So name, again these sub-elements are also represented using the angular bracket, and end of the each of the sub-element is given by the forward slash followed by the opening angular bracket. So here name is Kiran Kumar, street is 63 MG Road, city is New Chicago, state is Gujarat. So here the sub-elements in this case contains only the text, that is the data with respect to the each of the sub-elements. So for example, the name element contains the customer name. Okay, so these are the points with respect to the sub-elements with respect to the element shipped. Now one more property of an element. An element may contain 0 or more attributes. So what is an attribute? An attribute is a name value pair which appears after the element name in the element's start tag. So here which is the element start tag? Ship to is an element. In the line number 3 we have the element ship to starting tag, and in this start tag of the element ship to we have one more parameter here which is known as the attribute. So name of the attribute is country, and the value of the attribute country is what? India. That is, we have the name and value pair. So this is known as the attribute. Country, its value is India. It is an attribute of the element ship to. Okay, here we have a single attribute. Okay, so the purchase order, what we are seeing here in this figure 25.2a, okay, is a highly structured, that is, the name and address of the person receiving the shipment occurs first. Okay, see here, this is the line from line number 3 to 9. It is about the person details who is going to receive the shipment. Then from the line number 10 to line number 21 we have the details about the items. Okay, that is, again each item includes the product name, quantity and unit price. For each item we have the various values again. Okay, so the correct sequencing and nesting of elements is necessary here, since the computers are expected to process such documents. But here the question is, how does a computer know what to expect in a document such as purchase order? Here we have the purchase order document in an XML. So from this, what does or how does a computer know what to expect in a document? So a document type definition, or the more recently standardized XML schema, contains the rules to interpret the document's content. The various rules, okay, can include the information such as what is the element type. Example, the type of the element can be a string, decimal, complex, type, etc. Or the information like, is an element optional? If not, how many times should it occur? that is one or more than one time, etc. Or the other information like, does an element have any attributes? If so, what are their names and types? Other information like, what is the content of an element? That is, for example, whether the element has the other sub-elements or the text, etc. can be included in the rule. Okay. Similarly, what is the sequence of elements and how they are nested? So, like this, various information can be included in the rules. That is, these rules are present where? In the XML schema. That is a document type definition, or the more recently standardized XML schema will be having the rules with the various informations. Okay, so now this is the figure A with respect to the purchase order conforming to the schema definition which is given in the figure B. So now let us see the figure B here. That is, we have again here the XML tags which the telling the which that is from where the XML schema is used. Okay, then the element telling about the purchase order. Okay, then the various element of the purchase order type. Okay, we have the ship to. The type of the ship to is address. Okay, and also the items. The type of the items is denoted as items, as we are seeing here. Okay, so again with respect to the address can be split into name, street, city, state, pin, etc. Okay, that is, these are represented in the sequence in which order, okay, the address is represented. That is, the sequence is first name, then street, then city, then state, then the pin. Similarly, the sequence of the items, how it should be listed. So first is product name, then the quantity. Okay, so like this the rules, okay, have been given in the XML schema. Okay, so this figure 25.2b shows the XML schema of a purchase order. And initially in the figure A, what we have discussed is an instance of this schema. Okay, so this is an example for a real world schema of a purchase order, which is having the, or which may contain the hundreds of elements and the attributes like this. So using this schema, we can have the instances of this schema to define the purchase order, okay, with respect to the various users. Okay, so today in class we have discussed about the introduction part of the web, that is about the various atomic service providers, the role of the various atomic service providers, and about the web service, then the entities involved in a web service, and the technologies for the web service. We have discussed one of the technology is XML. So in next class we will discuss the other technologies used for the web services. Yes, hello students. You have any doubts with respect to the syllabus for the first internals? Hello, hello. Any doubt? Ah, yes, pa. MCQs, pa. That is not yet properly. We have got. They have told 30 minutes, but 1 hour they may keep it, pa. Hmm? Please, the students, if you do from tomorrow, if you want, I will do it again from the module 2 in class. Okay? Huh? Tomorrow, that is Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. If you people want, I will do online classes on module 2 because I have uploaded the videos with respect to the module 2 initially due to some net problem. Is it okay? Or shall I continue with the module 4 portion only in the class? Hello? Hello? Yes. Shall I do module 2 portion? 3 days. Which helps you for the internals also. Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Thank you, students. Thank you.